Good morning, Spiritual Life Center. Welcome to the SLC Sunday Experience. We're so glad that you're here with us today, and we're glad that you're out there online in your jammies too. So we want you to know wherever you are, your soul is welcome here.
That's right. You're in the right place at the right time. Let's sing about it. Here we go. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. In the right place, I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. Oh, my soul. Your soul is welcome. All souls are welcome here. I'm in the right place at the right time, right time. I am just where I am meant to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome. Oh, my soul is welcome. Oh, my soul is welcome. Everybody's welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome. I'm getting the message. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. My soul is welcome. Come on, put your hands together. My soul. If you feel welcome, put your hands together. My soul is welcome here. Yes, it is. My soul is welcome. No matter what color, culture, sexual orientation, political or religious affiliation, one God with any page, everybody's welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here.
Well, good morning, everyone. Good morning, Reverend Deborah. Good to see you today once again for the
It's
second time.
It's wonderful to see you, Reverend James. And we greet you this morning in the name of all that is good, all that is holy, and all that is sacred. And in the warm and loving energy of this community, Spiritual Life Center. You know, Spiritual Life Center, we do a lot of stuff. Spiritual Life Center honors all people. We're- Spiritual Life Center honors all people worshiping in temples, mosques, churches, stone circles, and of course, the beautiful temples of nature, because we know that there is no space that God does not grace. And if this is your very first time with us today on site or online, we especially want to welcome you because we know that you are not here by accident. Every single one of us is here by
Divine appointment.
And we're so glad to see so many people coming back and out. It's really amazing to be together again, isn't it? Yeah. And we also are very, very happy when you silence all of your electronic devices and, of course, wear your masks properly.
Well, let's take a moment and connect with that presence, that force. There's something that's beyond words, but it's so very real. And know that we have a direct connection with it always. No matter what we're going through or growing through at any given moment, that presence is there. As we like to say, wherever we are, God is, the force is, the energy of divine love is. And we simply open up ourselves to be in tune with this presence. And we elevate our energy and our vibration through the thoughts that we have, the words that we speak, the actions that we take. And after a while, we can say that when you see me, you see that same presence from which we have all come. So we're grateful to be the vessels and the vehicles of this presence. As we do, not only do we radiate from within out all the qualities of peace and love and joy and wisdom and all that's good and perfect, but we ignite that same recognition in all those who cross our path. So we go forth being those clear vessels and channels of the presence of the Spirit of the living God, so we can anchor a little more of the expanding good that is always present in our life and in our world. And so it is, and so we let it be. Amen. Our purpose and mission at Spiritual Life Center is as follows, and invite you to join in as we affirm it together. To transform lives as we love, serve, and remember. And we do so as we carry out and live these 5 basic principles to the best of our ability, which are the foundation of our teachings that we seek to live up to in our day-to-day life. And they are as follows. God is absolute good and everywhere present. People are inherently good. Thoughts create our experiences. Prayer and meditation are how we connect with God. We must take action. And at this time, we want to take some action by asking anyone who's born in the month of November to stand so we can acknowledge you and appreciate you. Any November people?
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you.
And at the risk of sounding slightly prejudiced, I do think that November babies are pretty special.
Because you were born in November, I guess. Yes.
So our beautiful flowers on the altar and out in the entryway were a gift from Shirley Brown. Thank you so much for the beautiful flowers. 2 weeks from today is Gratitude Sunday with our pie social, and so we ask you to bring your favorite sliced pie, and of course check in with Reverend James here to find out what his favorite is, so you make sure that there's a lot of that.
Yeah, right today it's apple, but bring a variety, you never know.
How about mine? Strawberry rhubarb.
Strawberry rhubarb. Okay, not mine, but that's okay.
We could do this all day.
Yes, we could do it all day. But we're not. We're calling all artisans and crafts persons. On December 11th is our holiday arts and crafts fair, and this is the perfect opportunity for you to offer your handmade art, your fine craft work, your products or services at Spiritual Life Center, and to our community. You can sign up, I think, online and eventually. Tomorrow. Okay. So, in the courtyard today, right? Yes, so the courtyard today. So it's an exciting event. We invite everyone to take advantage of this occasion, and you'll find special and unique holiday gifts for your family and friends. So you don't have to order from Amazon or wherever you get stuff from.
No supply chain shortages.
Yeah, no supply chain blockages. We have our own. We have a spiritual supply chain.
So November 24th, which is Thanksgiving Eve, we will be offering Come to the Table, which is our annual communion, communion service. It is a contemplative service. We commune with each other in divine and gratitude and love at that service. And, to commune is to have an intimate conversation. And one of the most intimate things you can do is to have a meal together. This is meditation. Reverend James and I will be there alternating with different meditations. And the music will be with Paula Mandela and Larry Shiflett. So join us on November 24th at 7 o'clock. We will be here on site, of course, and online.
And our magnificent gala is on its way. And to share information about that, we have our operations manager, who is more than that, but Elaine LaRoe is going to share about what our upcoming gala is all about.
Good morning, Spiritual Life Center family and friends, both on site and online. It is gala time, and I know some of you have already been calling. I thought we were going to buy our tickets. Where is it? Where is it? So I want to give you an update because you haven't seen that link yet. Well, one, we've been calling for all you amazing auction donors, and thank you. It has been crawling in. We will want to get those finalized this week, so see Pat in the courtyard if you're still thinking of it, because we're going to try to launch the silent auction pre pre-gala, so you have a chance to take a look at it. And here's a little tip. Some of you, we've got stuff from high-end jewelry, some Cartier watches, I mean, real high-end, nice stuff. But also, we have beautiful things like plants and pots, and actually, some of these amazing Faith in Action artists have donated some of their beautiful artwork. So take a look and just look around, and you know your friends. One of my favorite things is donate just a gift card, $10, $25, whatnot, and just think around who here would buy that gift card, because you would be doing a beautiful thing to donate it, and then when somebody sees it, they can buy it, get something for themselves, and it also goes to Spiritual Life Center. Because I know some of us want things, but we won't buy it for ourselves. But if there's a restaurant or a place and you go, well, I'll get that and treat myself because I'll be supporting Spiritual Life Center. So be looking at all those wonderful things, those sales that you see going on that you might want to donate. And I've done it in the past. I bought a great sale, put it in there, bid against it, and somebody beat me on it. And I thought I was going to get it too. So look at that, and we appreciate that for all of you. You are going to see the sponsorship opportunity to be here live. Some people were asking about that. It's going to be $30 tickets, but just to be able to cover some of the cost. And what I'm doing right now is calling all sponsors. We haven't released exactly how everything's going to go, but we have the marvelous Karen Drucker here. You will hear from our band and music. And in those who come in person, that's 6 to 7, the program 7 to 9, and all of you who join us online, just do the same way you watch our Sunday service. It's that simple. You click on those links and you'll be connected. But those of you who come in person, come an hour early and dress to impress, because we're going to have the social time and be having hors d'oeuvres and a bar, and so that's the plus about being in person. So more to come. If you've sponsored in the past, we're really right now trying to make sure we have some sponsors up front to make sure we're covering all our expenses. That way we know everything we raise that night and online with our auction is for supporting this ministry. So thank you for your patience. And again, see us in the courtyard and be looking for a direct email saying the gala tickets are live that will be coming out early this week. Much blessings. We'll see you on November 19th.
Thank you, Elaine. Okay, what else we got going on here? Oh, yes, our community giving. Cannot forget that. We are part of contributing to community organizations that are doing wonderful things in the community. And to introduce today's community giving partner, Richard Fujinami, he's going to come up and share and introduce the person who is going to be the recipient of this month's community giving check.
Thank you. Last year, in the midst of the COVID pandemic, I was diagnosed with colon cancer. I was shocked and anxious over the thought of surgery and chemotherapy while keeping safe from COVID-19. I had many questions and concerns about coping with the cancer treatments and felt overwhelmed. I then was told about a nonprofit, We Are Your Support, or WAYS, which are a nonprofit providing services to those going through cancer treatment. When I called, I found wonderful people who had been through what I was facing and knew what I needed to get through these treatments. I can't imagine how I would have managed this journey without their help. So in gratitude to WAYS, for the help that they gave me, I was happy to nominate and delighted that they've been chosen as this month's SLC Tithe recipient. And it's my pleasure to introduce Colette Wang, founder and executive director of We Are Your Support, to tell us more about her outstanding nonprofit.
Colette.
And the check.
Thank you so much, everyone, for allowing me to be here today and welcoming us with open arms. We have really enjoyed ourselves. My name is Colette Huang. I'm the CEO and co-founder of WAYS We Are Your Support. I would first like to thank everyone here at SLC for allowing us to be here today and honoring us with such a generous donation. Most importantly, I'd like to thank Mr. Richard Fujinami for the nomination for this donation. A little bit about us. Ways was founded after my own personal cancer journey in 2016. By 2018, we had really kind of just figured out where those holes were. I had a great support system. My family was fantastic, but there were some big holes in your cancer journey. Some of those holes we figured we could fill are things such as transportation. We can provide transportation services free of charge to the clients to and from all of their medical appointments. We can provide therapy sessions with a licensed therapist to all of our clients and their support systems. We will provide food and meal deliveries, quarterly events just to get out there and have a little bit of fun, and last but not least, our individualized donations. That is where if what you need did not fall in any of those categories, we will just sit down one-on-one with you and see what we can do to help you out and make it happen. Ways is ran by a fully volunteer staff and board of directors, and with their generosity of their time and their hearts and the generosity of others such as SLC, we are able to continue providing these free services. We again thank you guys so very much. This has been such a wonderful day. We have enjoyed every minute of it. Please come out and visit us in the courtyard. Myself, Colette, or Julia, our outreach coordinator, will be out there and chat with you more if you would like some more information. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Paulette.
And as I so gracefully mentioned earlier, we have a lot going on at SLC. So remember that the way to find out all of the things that are happening here is you can go online, of course, and find everything there, or you can go out into the courtyard. We have a bulletin board that has many things posted there, and then hop on over to the hub and sign up for whatever speaks to your heart.
Well, at this time, I'm inviting any of the chaplains who are present this morning, and as well as our board members are present, to please stand. We can acknowledge you and appreciate you. And the chaplains are wearing the white stoles, and they're available to pray with you if you're going through a challenge or a difficulty, or just want to have some prayer support on your journey of joy. They'll support that as well, and they're available to hold that consciousness and high watch with you here in the sanctuary, or you can meet them in the courtyard. So we thank them for their service and the consciousness they bring to Spiritual Life Center. And our board members that are here this morning, we thank them. We have 3 of them here this morning as well. And they bring their talent and their skills and energy and know-how to help move our organization collectively forward. And they're available to answer questions that you may have about our community or ideas that you may have. And we thank them for their support, because it takes quite a bit to be on the board, and they give a lot of themselves to make it happen. So thank them for their presence and their consciousness.
And we'd love to greet our newcomers. So in a moment, we will ask you to raise your hand. But first, we just want you to know that there are many ways to become involved here at SLC, and you can find that out by filling out our welcome card. That welcome card is available online, and you can fill it in, and we will get back to you that way. Or if you're here in the sanctuary and you raise your hand, we will give you the card, fill it out, and then take it to the welcome table in the courtyard, and you'll receive a very special gift and a loving welcome.
So if anyone's here for the very first time, we just invite you just to raise your hand. We have a few people here in the back, or to my left, your right if you're coming forward. We do appreciate you blessing us with your presence and your consciousness and your energy and who you are as a magnificent expression of spirit. And we support you on your spiritual path, whatever that might be. So you can fill that card out. We'll keep you informed of all the activities that are taking place at Spiritual Life Center. And you also have the blue ribbon. If you wear that, you'll get that special Spiritual Life Center greeting from one of our members or friends of Spiritual Life Center. So we thank you, we appreciate you, and we behold the magnificence that you are. And with that, we just invite anyone to turn to a friend or neighbor or a friend to be. Just tell them you are marvelous and glad you are here.
we invite you to take all that wonderful energy from greeting everyone, and please take a seat. We're going to sing once again our Faith in Action song. This is our second to the last time that we get to sing this beautiful song by Paula Mandela. Please join in as you feel comfortable. Everybody has a story, unique and all their own. Points of perception feature characters and roles. When we start to name it and we learn to play it, tumbling from the heavens, feeling all alone. These voices live inside my head, the storyteller's lies, dreams of illusions flowing back to ancient times. Picasso-like distortions, bending what is true. Starry nights and moonlit skies are calling out to you. Look to the beauty all around and inside you. Know the truth of who you are. Every being, all creation, we are a part, reflections of the one light. Love from source, straight to your heart. There are no wrong emotions. What you feel is real. All is perfection, seeking to reveal. Look to the beauty all around and inside you. Know the truth of who you are. Every being, all creation, we are a part, reflections of the one light. Love from source, straight to your heart. Look to the beauty all around and inside you. Know the truth of who you are. Every being, all creation, we are a part, reflections of the one light. Love from source, straight to your heart. Look to the beauty. Look to the beauty.
Well, speaking of looking to the beauty, you know, each week we have an artist that does an artistic pictorial representation of the theme of the week. And this week, Marianne Mancina has her artwork to depict that theme. And the title of her artwork is Follow the Stars. And Marianne writes the following. In chapter 9, Don Miguel encouraged us to use the 4 agreements as tools to change the story of our lives. He says that the first agreement, be impeccable with your word, and represented here by the star in the middle of the triangle, is a supreme agreement because it directs the power of our words towards truth and love. The 3 other agreements, symbolized by a star near each of the triangle's 3 corners, are don't take anything personally, don't make assumptions, and always do your best. Don Miguel says that these 3 agreements are support for the first agreement, which is the ultimate goal. Internalizing and using the 4 agreements helps us uproot and blow away the old lying tree of knowledge. This, in turn, allows the tree of life to germinate and grow inside us, spreading its branches to encompass us and connect our heart and mind with others and with all that is. Follow the Stars, Marianne Mancina. Thank you.
I invite us all now to speak aloud our vision statement. Spiritual Life Center is a loving, vibrant family that welcomes home all people and accepts everyone, no exceptions, weaving ancient spiritual traditions with emerging wisdom. We cultivate a spiritual deepening with the divine, each other, and our planet. And now in preparation for meditation, we'll once again sing this beautiful chant, Spirit in me.
And I invite you to take a nice deep breath. Just settle in. And let these words be your words. Please join us in singing. Spirit in me, live out in the open, shine from my life like the sun. Give of your goodness, conquer the darkness, Spirit of light and love, Spirit, Spirit in me. Spirit in me, live out in the open, shine from my life like the sun. Give of your goodness, conquer the darkness, Spirit of light and love, Spirit, Spirit in me. Give through me, speak through me, move through me, love through me, oh Spirit. Spirit in me. Oh, Spirit, Spirit in me.
As we settle into this time of quiet, breathe naturally and simply become aware of how you relax with each breath. Breathe into the back of your heart. Melt into your seat. Relax your eyelids. And allow your vision to become soft and cloudy. Closing your eyes. Allow your consciousness to drift up into a light daydream and come to me in the spiral of love. In front of you is a hedge-lined path, and a very friendly puppy bounces up to you. She jumps and twirls around a sign that says, "Welcome to the spiral of love." And then she bounces over to you, exuding love and joy. She makes you laugh, and your heart opens to receive this love. The puppy runs along the path, stopping and looking back as if to say, "Follow me." The path is beautiful, lined with those hedges and flowers and birds. Butterflies. Peace abounds. As you come into the first curve, a small child runs to greet you. The child's eyes radiate pure love as it reaches up to show you a special toy. As you bend down to look at the toy, the child wraps its arms around your neck and hugs you. Joy and love tingle throughout your entire body. Receiving this love, your heart opens just a little bit more. Following the puppy and the child along the path, you laugh with glee as they bounce and run in the pure joy of simply being. As you enter the next curve, a couple dances into the path. They look lovingly into each other's eyes as they twirl and spin, exuding love, peace, and joy. As they spin around you, sparks fly that resolve into strands of light that spiral around you. Receiving this deep love, your heart opens even wider. By now you are so filled with love that you feel like you cannot hold anymore. And still your companions move ahead of you, their lights of love and joy pulling you along. And now an ethereal being clad in white stands in the middle of the path, watching you with pure love, arms spread wide. You walk right into those arms, which wrap around you in the purest, loving embrace that you have ever felt. Love and joy permeate your body, your bones, your very soul. Your heart opens wider, immersed in pure love. The being takes you by the hand and leads you around the last curve to the center of the spiral. Here there burns the light of clear, holy, pure love. You are immersed in this light, blending dancing in love and joy, just for being in the silence. Your eyes see only love. You feel only love. Love is your connection with everything. It holds you together. It keeps all of us together. And now, as you take a breath or two and begin to return to your physical body, receive this blessing. Oh, my beloved, there is only love. As you walk through the seasons of your life, you will encounter many moods and emotions, and no matter the season, you can always come within where love dwells, where infinite love is bouncing, dancing, embracing you. And you will be held together by the strings of love and see the world through love and only love. Remember this. Always.
Little girl so young and tender, braids are thrown upon her back. In the pages of her book, the world is white and black. She is wearing heavy glasses, far from who she dreamt to be. Little one, her father tells her, close your eyes and see. The eyes of love don't know your name, don't see the color of your skin. The eyes of love don't know where you've been. The eyes of love don't know your age, don't see the lines you try to hide. The eyes of love see only what's inside. Little girl is grown and flowered, glasses tiny in her eyes. She can see a lot more clearly. Still at night she cries, never happy with a mirror. She will shun all who adore. Little one, her father tells her, open up your door. The eyes of love don't know your name, don't see the color of your skin. The eyes of love don't know where you've been. The eyes of love don't know your age, don't see the lines you try to hide. The eyes of love see only what's inside. The light shining bright from your heart. The light shining bright from your heart.
Thank you once again, Ann, for serenading us with the truth, the eyes of love. Welcome to this is our 6th week of our Faith in Action series. And it's based upon the text from Don Miguel Ruiz, The Voice of Knowledge. And this week we're looking at chapters 9 and 10 that are entitled Transforming the Storyteller and Writing Our Story with Love. And this week the topic is the dream of the second attention. It reminded me of a story of a couple that I guess had set a date or time to go for a walk, a stroll together. And it came to that time for them to do so. And it just so happened that for the first time in a long time, it was raining that day. And one of the partners said, it's raining outside. And the other partner went back and got their goggles and umbrella, galoshes, raincoat, and ready to go for the walk. He walked back up front, and the person looked at them and said, I thought I said it's raining outside. Because that person's perspective was that it was raining outside, therefore the walk is off for today. So, of course, they had both made up their own story about something that was neutral, that it was raining outside. One interpreted to mean that, it's time to go to rain gear, go ahead for the walk. The other saying, it's not time to go for the walk, no walk today. And so that led to a conflict between the two. One individual saying, you're not following through your agreements. The other saying, man, you're risking our lives by going out in the rain today. Led to this great misunderstanding and general upset based upon having different assumptions. Don Miguel writes that humans create so many problems because we make assumptions, stories. And of course, we believe they're true. And people believe not only they're true, but they're right. And nearly all of our conflicts, he says, are based upon this belief. Well, there's a statement, in the Course in Miracles. Let me get that out of my throat. And they ask this question, would you rather be happy or be right? And most people say, I want to be right and happy. After all, I'm always right anyway. I'm just trying to bring the happy part to it. And in this particular case, the couple, they both knew that they were right. But in that particular moment, neither of them were happy because they were attached to their story. They were attached to their interpretation. And Don Miguel asks this question about us, are we happy with our story? And he goes on to say that if not, we can change our story. I would just say as an aside, as a matter of fact, usually our assessment of a story that we have of an event or a situation is usually not accurate anyway. We're seeing it through our own interpretation. So the story that's making us unhappy, we might want to change, and we can change the story. In Don Miguel's tradition of the Toltecs, he calls this the master of transformation. A Course in Miracles says it's a miracle because a miracle is nothing more than a change in perspective. In other words, changing the story on how we see a particular situation. I think all of our stories, even the ones that we think are in our past that happened a long time ago, they're affecting us in the present moment. In fact, I would go on to say that a story really is never in the past. It's in the here and the now. I was sharing earlier that I was thinking about this, and sometimes thinking is not a good thing for me to do, but I took a risk. And I did it anyway. And I had a revelation. And that revelation is that our past story of an event that determines our current experience, it's the past story of our event that determines our experience. And the thought about the past story is what is real, the thought. In other words, a story really can't be in the past. If we have a story and it's moving through our mind, if we are constantly having those kind of stories, it's the story that's happening right now. And that story right now is affecting our body temple, our mental body, our emotional body. Right now we're releasing peptides and endorphins and all that stuff. So right now, we're either youthing or aging depending upon the story that is passing through our awareness. Depending on where our attention is right now. So it's not the past that is doing this to us. It is the present story about the past that's affecting our life. But here's the deal. We can change the story. And when we do, our life and our life experience begin to change immediately. There was a young man who realized he had been carrying a lack of self-esteem in his life. At least that was his story he was telling himself. Because he saw that he was constantly saying things to himself about how bad his childhood was. And how in his past he saw that people had picked on him and talked about how he was so tall and he had big ears. His father was always teasing him about him and telling him about how weird he was. And so he was always saying about how terrible his childhood was. But then he began to learn the power of words. And he decided to write down affirmations. And one of the affirmations that he wrote down is, "I've always had a happy childhood." And he put this affirmation on his refrigerator door. He put it on the mirror into his bathroom. He put it on the dashboard on his car. So he would constantly see that story everywhere that he went. And he reminded himself, I always had a happy childhood. That was his new story. And then he began to have memories of the wonderful things that had taken place in his life. He began to remember the wonderful things that happened during his childhood that he had forgotten about because he always remembered suddenly how his grandmother would just loved him and would make his favorite pie for him on his way home. And I think it was apple. I'm pretty sure it was. But he began to remember a best friend that he had that was with him his entire life and be with him through thick and thin, no matter what he was going through. He began to remember the things he had blocked out because he always was telling a story that looked through a glass darkly, that my childhood was terrible. But as he took on a new story, those memories began to fade. Those memories began to make it so that he shed those old clothes, the old wineskin of lack of self-esteem and nobody loves me consciousness. And his back began to straighten up. And he began to see a possible future for himself. And that future was full of love, was full of joy and spiritual self-esteem simply because he changed his story. His new story that was for him, and it was no longer against him. This is what Don Miguel Ruiz calls being impeccable with your word. It's the first of the 4 agreements, which reminds us that this is the key tool, he says, that helps us unlearn the falsehoods, the lies, the mistruth about ourselves when we change our story. In this case, the young man had redirected his focus of his story. And he put into practice the dream of second attention. The dream of second attention in which we bring our attention in alignment of the truth of who and what we truly are. We're expressions of the divine. And by adopting a new story, we can unlearn the stories that do not serve us. We can begin to pivot toward a new direction in our life. One of the greatest gifts that we can give ourselves and to give even another person is to be open to rethinking and unlearning what we first believed and realize now that it may not be true. This is what it means to repent. It simply means to rethink. That's the dream of second attention. It's a certain mental flexibility. It is the key to our progress. It's the key to our transformation. It's the key to writing a new story for ourselves. So this week, Don Miguel notes in the 10th chapter that the best and maybe the only way to write your story is with love. You know, Anne said and sang through the eyes of love, and so we want to see our stories through the eyes of love. Now, love is sometimes difficult to rather define because, in the English word, it's probably only a few definitions. But in some languages, it's multiple levels of definitions. But one of them, from a spiritual perspective, love is that pure essence of God, the force that binds the whole human family together. I mentioned last week that I think one great definition is when we support our own or another's spiritual growth. Nothing can be better than really becoming the best that we can become spiritually. But for us to happen, we have to start loving ourselves. Sometimes we're our own worst critics. And when that becomes our story, we say things, oh, I'm a horrible person, or, oh, I'm stupid. Maybe I'm speaking for myself when I, look at myself. How did I do that? And then sometimes we go on to the opposite end of the spectrum and tell ourselves we need to be perfect. We try to be perfectionistics. I don't know if that is a word. It is now. And I said it. We try to hold ourselves to a standard that we never can humanly meet. And then that leads to feelings of self-loathing. Oh, what's wrong with me? I didn't do it right. Now, we may be salivating at the thought of becoming a better version of ourselves, but we don't stop long enough to appreciate and to celebrate the truth of who we are right now and are always that way, offsprings of love itself. So oftentimes we'll tell stories that downgrade ourselves, thinking we're not good enough. That seems to be a common thread through many people. I'm not good enough. No matter, I've seen people who are super achievers, and they say, I just feel that something's lacking in my life. But we must remember to practice self-compassion, self-acceptance, and treat ourselves as worthy because we were born worthy. It is inherently who we are. Because God, the universe, the force did not make junk. God did not make any mistakes. There's no spare parts in the universe at all. Nothing was created accidentally. And who we are and what we are is the absolute best that this presence, this power has to offer as far as you and I are concerned. So we must begin to take the time to treat ourselves well. And I'm not talking about being egotistic about it, but taking compassionate hands, compassionate spiritual hands, and to take time with ourselves. Begin to talk to ourselves nicely, encourage ourselves, love ourselves. Sometimes when we have funds, pay ourselves first. We have to pay the bills, but then, take care of ourselves. As they say, when you're on the plane, if something happens, tip the mask on you first. Take care of yourself. One thing I like to do lately, sometimes just go into a bath and get some lavender stuff and put it in there. Just be in there for an hour or so and just be. If the phone rings, I ain't answering. We make a regular appointment with the presence, a regular appointment with God, just us in the presence. To deepen that practice of self-love is we have to examine and see what is it that we allow to remain in our minds, in our awareness. Is it beauty or is it the ugliness of the day? At the end of the day, how does our memory serve us? Do we remember the things that just went wrong? A lot of people just remember what went wrong today. Remember the negative things that people have said about us, or we thought they said about us. We don't know if they did, but we heard they said it about us. The things that we thought were not quite right with other people, and that becomes part of our mind. Or do we allow our consciousness, that is where we live, we always live in our own consciousness, to be filled with beauty? I think as we develop a strategy to allow beauty to remain in our minds, beauty rushes to us. That's because that's what we're interested in. That's where our attention is. You know, basic spirituality, basic metaphysics says whatever we are truly interested in, I mean really interested in, is the only thing that we experience. And that's what we take with us. The master teacher, Jesus Christ, said it this way: lay up treasures in heaven where dust and moth do not corrupt. He was talking about using this memory. He was talking about using our mind, using our way of being not to hold fast to the negative or the discontent, but to use this place where we live to be a repository of beauty, of love. We can do this. And I think one of the ways we can augment this practice is to expect and prepare for good in our life. I always say we don't get what we pray for. We don't necessarily get what we want. We get what we expect. We get what we prepare for. You know, a lot of folks are preparing for a broken heart. Some people are preparing for loss. Some people are preparing for lack and limitation. Some people say, what is going to happen wrong next? You know, the next shoe is going to drop. That's what I'm preparing for. They're saying, you know, things are going so well right now. I know something negative is right around the corner. But we cannot say we want the best that God has to offer while at the same time expecting and preparing for the worst. Those are two different energies. So it all begins by loving ourselves. And then a strange thing happens. We begin to love others at a higher level than we are. Every now and then, you know, I think to hone this self-love, we want to take out a piece of paper and write down, I believe in God, which God is love itself. And then allow for our minds to write why. Without thinking, just let our hearts speak. I believe in God. I believe in this love. I've seen a sunset. I've seen the breath going in and out of my body. My heart is beating. I've seen a miracle today. I've seen someone healed. I've seen a sad heart that's been mended. And we begin to retain beauty in our lives and live at that higher level. And then this becomes the foundation for all of our stories. Because we begin to write down, I believe in God. I believe in the all good. I believe in peace. We say why, and we develop an inner subjective way of being in which our entire life will begin to revolve around that way of thinking. And like I say, we'll begin to emit a fragrance of God, a fragrance and a vibration and energy of this presence. We will emit an atmosphere of this presence that is always loving and supporting us, and we'll do it without thinking. And when we do that, then all our stories will reflect that. Because our story will be, I believe in the one power. I believe in this one power that is always good. I believe in the one presence. I believe in the one, this one love, and I allow my thoughts and my words and my actions to simply revolve around that story. And then our life begins to change, begins to transform. I believe this rule of self-love will allow us to be so radiant with the Spirit of the living God that when individuals see you and me or anyone, when we're really in that revelry, we'll see the sunsight in their eyes. We'll see the sunsight in our eyes. And we'll be in a place in which people want to know, where are we being fed? And you'll say, go down to Spiritualized Center. Because we'll no longer have stories that define us by our circumstances, by our history, and all of the false notions and interpretations of life. No, we will go for the dream of second intention or attention and start having God's stories. And when you and I speak, we will tell stories about the wonderful things that have happened in our life experience, even if they appear not to be at the moment. Because the undertone and the overtone and the consciousness bespeaks of the presence of God. It bespeaks of the goodness that is always there. Yes, we're reminded that on the human level, on a three-dimensional level, we have stories that say we live in challenging times, and we do have challenging circumstances. You know, if we check the headlines on the internet, and I don't advise anyone to do that unless they fully prayed up, we realize there are things going on the planet. Oh yeah, the environment is calling for our attention. There's heightened polarization and division politically and culturally. And when we look upon the world from a linear point of view, we might say, oh my God, this is impossible. There is no solution for this. There's no way we can solve this. The world in which we're living with all the crises that seem to be going on, it looks impossible. I'm just going to go to bed, pull the covers over my head, and bury it there and stay in the house and not participate because this stuff is impossible. Well, that's simply a story. And we can rewrite that story. We can rewrite a story that says, yes, with God, with the force, all things are possible. Because this presence only knows divine and perfect spiritual solutions. And with enough love, with enough vibration of that love, we can stand and see the world that we want to create or co-create amongst ourselves. It's a story that's not against us or against anyone. It's a story in which we stand in alignment with the avatar of the ages, the individuals who were bold enough, crazy enough to say what is possible. You know, there's a woman I read about named Shara Lubeck, who was the creator of the folklore movement. The folklore movement is part of the Catholic tradition. And she discovered during, I think, World War II, that the only lasting thing is love. And she started a whole new movement of the Catholic Church that was an extension of her love of God, her love of her beloved Jesus. And she said, when we seek to love at that level, yes, we have to have a little boldness. We have to maybe have a little craziness. We have to have a little zaniness, a lot of commitment in order to do that, but we can. Why? Because we're on an adventure of truth here, an adventure of love here, an adventure of peace here. And there's some things that we need to transform in our individual lives and on the planet. Yes, there are some things we need to be modified, requalified. Absolutely. We don't deny any of that. We acknowledge the facts, but we look for the truth behind that. So our story is now absolutely, we're convinced that with this presence, all things are possible. Yet we add one word to that. We say, with God awareness, with God awareness, with God consciousness, all things are possible. With that awareness, all things become available to us, and we're holding fast to that awareness. That is where God is, and that is where we are. We know that this presence is never just going to come. It's not going to come now. It is now. It is here. All things are possible. That's the story. That's being impeccable with our word, because it's a story that's always supporting us, uplifting us, transforming us to higher levels, and is never, ever against us. So we tell God stories until they are so indelibly imprinted on our minds and hearts that the fragrance of God simply washes all over us. That's the dream of the second attention. And what a great dream that is. That's the story that we tell. Peace and blessings to you. Well, our affirmation this week to embody some of the things that we read or hear on Sundays is up on the screen. And so let's affirm that together and take this with you. I open to transformation. I allow knowledge to collapse, creating a new story based on truth. I am a ritual of love. Well, next week we're going to continue on with this Faith in Action series and deepen this concept through the topic of through the eyes of love. Looks like we're going to continue on with this idea. And the next week's color is violet. Violet. At this time, I speak to those who happen to be watching online at any given time, day, night, evening, morning, wherever you are. If you'd like to support the continuing spread of this message of possibilities, we invite you to support Spiritual Life Center with your gift or donation. And you can do so by simply texting SLC Love to 44321. That's SLC Love to 44321. Or you can go to our website, slcworld.org, and click the Donate tab and give in other ways, including by mail. And for those who are present today that are giving, we simply invite you to take your gift, your offering, symbolically raise it to the heavens, and know that it is being amplified as you put it in circulation, and that whatever you give out, it comes back to you in many different ways and in unexpected ways. So with that awareness, let us affirm our offertory blessing. Divine love, as me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I circulate. Thank you, God.
Are you happy with your story? Time to rewrite. Every day is a new beginning, a chance to erase unhappy endings. When I wake, I can make 1,000 dreams come true. I can use my faith in God in everything I do, 'cause every day is new. Infinite paths to choose, the choices I make and the chances I take are based in truth, and every day is new. Every night when I go to sleep, my unconscious mind counts the blessings I reap. When I sleep, my thoughts seem to work themselves on out, and when I rise to greet the day, my mind is free of doubt, 'cause every day is new. Infinite paths to choose, the choices I make and the chances race in truth, and every day is new. Yes, it's true. I don't get caught up in trying to make life make sense. The price that it would cost me would be too high an expense. So I just pray and keep the faith, 'cause every day is new. Infinite paths to choose, the choices I make and the chances I take are based in truth, and every day is new. I'm soaking up the fragrance of God, yeah. Have a repository of love, yeah, yeah, yeah. Retelling my story. If I'm gonna make something up, I'm gonna make it good. Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, every day is new. Infinite paths to choose every day. I said every day. I wanna try something. You ready to sing a little? I'm just throwing this out there off the top of my head. Let's break it down for a second. I want you to sing. Every day is new. Your turn. My turn. Every day is love. Every day is love. Every day. Ready for that one? Every day is a new beginning. That's right. Give yourselves a hand.
And riffing a little bit, did a little improvisation on us today, getting audience participation. You never know what you get at Spiritual Life Center. We know it's going to be good. Well, we take this time to bless those who have given their gifts and offerings, supporting this community, to provide a vessel for those who are here and those who are on their way. They may not even know it, that they're looking for something to help them become the very best that they can be and express their highest and best self as spiritual beings. So we bless those who are supporting this effort on our behalf. We bless those who have left prayers in the prayer box. And no matter what challenge or difficulty they may be going through right now, we hold the energy field in the story that there's always a divine and perfect solution to whatever they may be facing. For we know that this presence that is beyond words only deals in perfect and divine solutions. And we lift their awareness as well as our own to be one with this solution. And we begin to receive the gifts that are always there and always being given to us. For this and so much more, we're grateful and thankful as we go forth doing our part to anchor a little bit more of the ever-expanding good in our life and in our world. It is already done, and so it is. Amen. And with that, let us affirm our prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. Wherever we are, God is, I am, and all is well. And with that, let us sing our peace song.